Hi, I'm Pam, and this is my monthly update video letting you know everything that I was up to in the month of September. I hope everyone's been doing well as we move into fall. I have been enjoying that the weather is getting just a tiny bit cooler. In terms of updates for last month, I was a guest on the podcast. I was a guest on the Classic Gaming podcast with Rob and Jay, and as you can probably tell by the name, this is a podcast dedicated to classic gaming. They also talk about some new stuff as well, but that is the focus. All of us sort of talked about the various classic games we've been playing. I talked about the Leisure Suit Larry and replaying that, which I will also touch on more later in this video. It was cool because Rob had been playing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade recently, and I had just replayed that a few months ago over on Twitch, so it was nice to be able to bounce some thoughts about that game back and forth. We also answered some questions from listeners about our most favorite or like the sound effects in games that have just like worked their way into our minds. I'll include a link to that podcast, but you can also check it out on any podcast app of your choice. As for Point and Drink Adventure, there actually wasn't any new episode in September. Our last episode came out on August 31st. However, Michelle and I are going to be recording a new episode in about an hour from when I'm recording this now, so there will be a new episode in the not too distant future. As we move into fall, things are getting busier, and I'm finding that I could use a hand in leveling up my productivity, especially when it comes to creating videos for this channel. Luckily, thanks to this video's sponsor Skillshare, learning has never been easier. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, and there are thousands of classes to take led by industry experts. You can learn about unlocking your creative identity, building your brand with video, drawing, graphic design, sound, productivity, and more. I've been enjoying the Productivity Masterclass, Principles and Tools to Boost Your Productivity. This class tackles myths about motivation, multitasking, and not having enough time. If you want to take things further, you can try out Skillshare's Learning Paths. These are curated sequential class collections that help you master a specific skill or competency. Skillshare is always adding new classes and making improvements. When you join now, you'll be asked questions about your interests and goals, and Skillshare will immediately give you recommendations that are tailored to you. If you're interested in learning something new this fall, join Skillshare. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Alright, so I don't have any pickups this month, so I'm going to get right on into the games that I've been playing. There's a number of things that I played through, a few games that I retired in September. The first thing, and honestly one of the best gaming experiences I've had this year, is Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. This is a game by Simogo. It is available for PC and Switch, I believe. And Dylan and I played through this together. It's just a single player game, but we just pass the controller back and forth. And this is a puzzle game. Just all kinds of puzzles everywhere. It's sort of like if you took the Resident Evil mansion, you have sort of fixed camera angles, third-person perspective, but rather than fighting zombies or just finding keys to open doors, you're just solving puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. You come to this old hotel and you're not exactly sure what you're here for, but you end up solving a mystery and solving lots of puzzles. And it was just a really satisfying game to play. The puzzles were that perfect difficulty where you really felt smart when you managed to solve them. It was really nice to play through it co-op because there was definitely some puzzles that went way over my head, whereas some of them I picked up on right away. At one point, we got a little stuck with something, and Dylan's the one who ended up figuring it out, and that sort of like opened up a whole new set of things for us. Whereas I was really good at like number puzzles, especially the shortcut doors, which are the optional puzzles, I know, but I really loved those. But everything is just so satisfying. It's got this great way of remembering information. You basically have a photographic memory, so you can go back and read notes that you had read, or see maps, or see drawings and things that will have to be used. Some of the puzzles sort of build on each other, so you'll take knowledge from one puzzle and it'll feed into the next and the next. There are things you find at the very beginning of the game that don't come into play until the very end. It's just a really expertly crafted sort of unraveling puzzle box that was just a lot of fun. I also really like just the general vibe of the game. It's not a horror game at all, but it's definitely a little bit on the spooky side. It's mostly black and white, but with just these pops of like bright pink fuchsia colors. Yeah, just a lot of fun to play through. A story that kept you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. And yeah, just so many things that we wrote pages and pages of notes as we played. And it was just great to like put our heads together and figure out exactly what each part of the game, what each locked door, what each mysterious bookshelf was asking of us. Yeah, definitely one of the best games I've played this year. I have one complaint though. They've made this game in such a way that you can basically play it with one button, which sucks. I think having that as an option, cool, but there's no back button in the game. So when you go into your menu or you go into your book of notes, you can't just like back out of the menu. You have to specifically go to like the back button and press select. It just made it really annoying, and it was like such a little thing that I think they did on purpose, but it was a bad choice. If anything, they should have made it give you an option. Do you want a 1-button layout or do you want a 2-button layout? But despite how that was annoying all the way through, and I was still failing to back out of things, it never really got through my brain. The game was absolutely brilliant, just incredible puzzles. I felt very accomplished when we finally beat it. It was just like addictive, but like addictive in a good way. The first day we played it, we started playing after dinner, and next thing we know, it's like, whoops, it's 2 a.m. We should probably go to bed. So it's that kind of game. Just very good. If you like puzzles at all, I definitely recommend it, especially if you have someone to play it with, to like bounce ideas off of and, you know, have different strengths and weaknesses. I think it's just an excellent time. The next one I played is Roguebook, and a couple months ago I did my roguelike ranking and I talked about Slay the Spire and things, and someone recommended Roguebook, which I got and ended up really enjoying. It is fairly similar to Slay the Spire. It is a sort of dungeon delving deck builder. What's interesting is that there are 4 classes or 4 characters to play, each with their own deck. But each time you go through, you pair 2 of them together. So at any one run, you have 2 decks to work with, and you're sort of trying to synergize them, which was really cool. You're also, as you're going through a dungeon, it's a really neat idea where you're sort of painting the dungeon. So there's like a path from the beginning to the end, but then you get these like paint splatters and you can like open up a circle around you, and it could be more combat encounters, or you could find a health potion, you can find places to draw new cards, gems to pick up, gold to use in the shop. I really liked that idea of sort of building out your own path as you went through. I found it really fun. I don't think it has as much replayability as Slay the Spire did, but I really like the time I spent with it. Like I probably, you know, spent a good month with it until I had beaten it with every combination of characters. You can add sort of increasing challenges to it, like making the enemies do more damage or making things cost more to increasingly make it more difficult as you go through. I wasn't super interested in doing that, so I basically played through until, yeah, I got my win on each character and I opened up the full decks for each character. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So if you're looking for a deck builder, that's really fun, but maybe isn't gonna keep you addicted and occupied quite at the Slay the Spire level. I really liked Roguebook. So I don't think I've talked about these games yet, but over September and August, maybe even a little bit of July, over on Twitch on Adventure Sundays, I've been playing through the Leisure Suit Larry series, and I just wrapped that up in September. This is a series I've played before. I started playing them when I was way too young to be playing them. But I started off with Leisure Suit Larry 1, which has been remade a number of times. I played the first remake, so it was like the VGA remake. And it was interesting. It's funny. You play this apparently lovable loser, Larry Laffer, who is out to get laid. That's what he wants to do in every game. And you're trying to help him do that. So you're in the city of lost wages, and you have some places to go. You can go to the bar, you can go to the casino, you can go to the hotel, you can go to a convenience store. There's a club. The casino comes into play because you have to spend a lot of time gambling in order to build up enough money to buy what you need through the course of the game and pay for taxis to get between every location. It is definitely a bit of a time sink in that way. There's, just design things. I mean, the original game I think was like 1989 or something, maybe even earlier than that. So there's some things that were a little annoying. One place I got stuck, I had to just be in a room for a certain amount of time until a radio ad played, which I never would have thought of or remembered in a million years. But it's fun. It's, irreverent, and I had a good time playing through that on Twitch. I'm not a text parser person, so I skipped through Larry 2 and 3, and there is no Larry 4. So then I played Leisure Suit Larry 5. Passionate Patty does a little undercover work, and in this one you're playing as both Larry, who is unlucky in love, and Patty, who is very lucky in love. And this is an interesting one because it is incredibly plot heavy. Like, most of the games are just like, go try to get laid. And in this, it's the whole big story about like the mob and the government and porno and secret sexual lyrics and rap music and everyone working together to try to make money. It's like a very convoluted story. You end up spending a lot of time in the game just watching dialogue. Just dialogue between characters you're not even playing. So I found that a little, I don't know, it just didn't work. Like, adventure games are at the best when, your character is actually talking to people and solving puzzles and combining inventory in stupid ways. So that one wasn't my favorite. Leisure Suit Larry 6, Shape Up or Slip Out, I think that's what it's called. Larry gets a getaway at a sort of spa, and again, he just tries to score with as many women as possible. I really liked Larry 6. I thought it was funny. I thought the puzzles were interesting, and it is just that sort of core adventure gameplay of talking to people and solving puzzles without being like too overwhelmed with plot. And then the last one was Leisure Suit Larry Love for Sale, which is my favorite one. It's the 7th Larry game. In that one, you're on a cruise and you're trying to get laid. Surprise. It's got really good cartoon graphics. It's all voice acted. The voice acting is great. You have a little scavenger hunt, find dildo, and the music that plays when you find it is incredible. I love it. I'll try to put in a sound clip here. But yeah, I enjoyed my time playing through the Leisure Suit Larry games again. One thing that happened was that, what game? Oh yeah, it was when I was playing Leisure Suit Larry 7. There's some Easter eggs that you can do in the game that allows you to see naked breasts. Usually there's like, strategically placed things so you don't see any nipples, but there's Easter eggs that you can do. And so I did one of them, and you could see this character's boobs. And I'm just going through, playing my game, looking at OBS and going, oh, why my chat hasn't said anything for a while. Oh, Why am I disconnecting? Oh, I've been suspended from Twitch. So I'm not sure if the Twitch bots got confused or if someone reported me, but yeah, I was temporarily suspended from Twitch. I got, I think, a 3-day or 7-day suspension. Got an email immediately saying my account had been suspended for sexual content. I immediately, of course, looked up the Twitch rules, and having cartoon video game boobs in a Twitch stream is not actually against the terms of service in any way. So I appealed it, and almost immediately, like within 10 minutes of my appeal, it was like, whoops, sorry, your account has been reinstated. So yeah, that was a little bit of excitement. Unfortunately, the video for it just gone, like it never existed. But yeah, my account came back almost immediately after that happened. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny in an annoying way. The next game I beat is Beyond Galaxyland, and last month I did do an entire video on Beyond Galaxyland. Just wanted to share a few more thoughts on it that I didn't mention in that video. Overall, I really liked this game. It's a sort of sci-fi adventure RPG. I would call it more of a JRPG because it's like turn-based combat. It's more about equipping yourself than it is actual narrative or character role-playing in any way, but it's just a really fun game where you're a sort of fish out of water. You've teleported from Earth to this galaxy far away and you're trying to get back home. You meet friends along the way, and there's just all kinds of fun mechanics. There's like photography and creature capture and summons and races, crafting, side quests. You get a ship and you can explore the galaxy on your own and go to different planets. There's some platforming, there's puzzle solving. So just a little bit of everything in a way that made it really like dynamic and interesting to play since things were switching up so much. I did find, at least for me, it ended a little bit abruptly, and it's probably my own fault because I was really interested in where the story was going. And even though characters would say, hey, maybe before we go here, we should go around and explore a little bit. And I'd be like, well, I'll do that later. I wanna see what's gonna happen over here. And I did that a few too many times. And then it was like, whoops, I beat the game. So I ended up beating it with, there was at least one whole planet that I never went to. And there was definitely more exploration to do, more creatures to photograph, definitely more summons to capture. I didn't get very many summons at all. But yeah, I really liked the game. But yeah, I would give that little bit of advice to anyone who's playing it. Do your exploring. Just, go do your exploring if that's what you want to do. Now you do have the option after you beat it to just reload the save and you can go explore again. It's not like you're cut off from that, which is nice. But yeah, I really liked Beyond Galaxyland. The next game I played is called Flipwitch Forbidden Sex Hex. Someone recommended this to me a while back, I believe on my Metroidvania ranking video. So this is a Metroidvania. It is a very kind of like anime porn Metroidvania. You play a witch and you're sort of taking over the powers of the old head witch, and one of the powers that you get is that you can basically gender swap. So depending on, it's just a press of a button. You're a female witch, you're a male witch. There's some platforms you can only interact with as one gender, or like doors you can go through, or people who will only talk to you. So that's sort of one of the more interesting mechanics. It's actually a surprisingly decent Metroidvania. Controls are maybe a little bit on the floaty side, but in terms of platforming, it's never asking that much of you that a little bit of a floatiness is really impacting things. But yeah, the world was fun to explore. You get all of these costumes, which is another one of the cute, fun mechanics where someone will be looking for something. Like you meet a girl and she's like, I just want a big, strong farmer. And so you find a farmer costume for your male witch, and then she'll have sex with you. So yeah, that's how you go through. You basically going through sleeping with as many people as you can, getting more powerful because of it. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's just gonna have a bunch of boobs. No, this is definitely a not suitable for work game. There's like money shots and very graphic cartoon content. So, warning or enticement if that's what you're into. But I thought it was actually really fun. I ended up almost 100%ing the game. I at least got all the outfits and got my powers up to full. Maybe I didn't get a few of the collectibles that you could have gotten in the game. But yeah, it was surprisingly fun. This was the first game I played on the Steam Deck, although I played it docked, so really not that different than playing on an Xbox. But yeah, Flipwitch, surprisingly good for what it is. And there's also a couple games that I retired. In my roguelike video, someone recommended Curious Expedition 2. And luckily, right after that, they both, 1 and 2, were both on sale. And these are the kind of like survival-y narrative choice-making games that I really enjoy. You're basically an explorer, kind of a colonizer. You start out in Europe and you're just exploring the world. I didn't play the first one too much. The first one was pretty challenging, so I'm mostly going to talk about the second one. But yeah, you go to various places. It's almost got like a kind of Jules Verne thing about it, and he's even a character in the game. You go to an island. It's sort of like a hex-based grid. As you go, you're managing your sanity because traveling makes you lose sanity, and you have to eat in order to regain it or rest. You can come to a village and you can trade with the villagers, build up your reputation. Maybe you can recruit one of them or get their help or ask them for a quest. And you're basically doing some kind of objective in each place, and then you go back to Paris in this one, and you can like level up your characters or sort of push the story along. And I was having a really good time with it. Like, I played it for, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 hours. I really liked it. There's some turn-based combat, which is kind of dice-based, which is interesting. I liked doing the exploration. I don't really have much bad to say about the game. The only thing is that it would just lasted too long. Like, I got to a point where I was like, I really wish that the story was over now, but it wasn't yet. So I just put it down because I kind of lost interest. But for what it is, I actually found it really enjoyable, and I got a number of hours of entertainment out of it. Perhaps I'll go back again, in a few months once I sort of am wanting to play that kind of thing again. But yeah, Curious Expedition 2 especially was pretty neat. And the last thing I played just recently and decided to retire is called Aggelos, and this is a Metroidvania that is very retro style. It's sort of reminiscent of the Wonder Boy games on Sega Genesis, I think Master System as well. You play a character, it's just a very straightforward, you're a dude with a sword. Like, it's almost Wonder Boy / like Zelda 2 or Simon's Quest, like just a sort of amalgamation of all those things. You're just a dude with a sword, princess gets kidnapped, you try to get her back, you go to the castle, oh no, a bad dude is trying to end the world or take over the kingdom or whatever. Like, it's very straightforward, earnest. It's like a 8-bit game story. And, it looks a little better, it controls a little smoother, but it's very, very retro style. And it just wasn't what I was looking for. My thought is that I still love some retro games, but I don't particularly want to play new games that play like retro games. Like, you can do better. So yeah, the map was a little bit on the linear side. The mechanics were just kind of basic. It wasn't particularly fun to backtrack through anything. I ended up going through a couple of the dungeons, getting a few new powers, and it just wasn't holding my interest, so I retired Aggelos. Alright, so that is all of my updates for the month of September. Leave me a comment, let me know what you've been playing, if you've gotten any fun pickups, if you want to recommend anything to me. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. If you want to see more, go check out another one of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.